Hello everyone, my name is Ivan and welcome to my research proposal. Is this the end of live sporting event attendance? I hope you guys like it. Live sporting events and displays of athleticism have always held a special place in the hearts who enjoy them. They create a space of camaraderie where individuals from all backgrounds and walks of life come together to cheer on their native team. It is for that reason that attendance to these live events have always done quite well, being in high demand. However, within the past few years, we have seen a steady decline in live sporting event attendance. So, the purpose of this research proposal is to shed light on whether ticket prices, digital streaming, and new forms of entertainment are to blame for the decline of live sporting event attendance. So, before the steady decline in attendance, household names we know today, such as the National Football League, National Basketball Association, and Major League Baseball, were all largely successful, selling out seasonal tickets on average and securing large broadcast television deals, increasing their brand and notoriety in the 1970s. It wasn't until the mid 2000s that professionals and researchers took notice to a steady decrease in their ticket sales. Researchers and data analysts from Sports Market Analytics document these changes from 2011 to 2018 in an 8-year span. For Major League Baseball, during the year 2011, they saw a total of about 41 million attendees that year, and during 2018, they recorded just a total of 33 million attendees, showing a 19% decrease within that 8-year period. Now, these same trends were taking place in other associations as well. The NFL showed an 8% decrease from 2011 to 2018. The NHL showed a 13% decrease from 2011 to 2018. And those who showed the largest decrease from 2011 to 2018 were in the NCAA. NCAA basketball and football showed the largest decreases, with basketball being 33% and football being 31%. With the increase in interest in this particular issue, many researchers are suggesting that there are a couple different factors that are to blame for the steady decline in live sporting event attendance. A researcher by the name of Scott Masterson suggests that one of the biggest factors affecting the decline in attendance rates is directly correlated to the success of a team. While this makes sense in his study for a few teams, he discovers that collegiate teams such as Alabama and Georgia, who have made countless national championship appearances and are very well known within the sports community, have actually witnessed a 39% decrease of attendance to their sporting events. So surely there is something missing that is more significant than just the success of a sports team. Another factor suggested by Dr. Lee and his colleagues was the environmental factors of facilities. These were suggested to be a significant factor when determining success of attendance for live sporting events. The factors that they took into account were the availability of parking, crowd control during games, stadium cleanliness, food and beverage services. They focused their efforts on a minor league AA baseball team named the Bay Bears. Their research suggested that most of the significant factors that determined a decrease in live sporting event attendance were the cleanliness of the stadium, food and beverage services, and crowd control. While I do believe that these are important for success, times have changed and these same factors may not be as significant as they once were. Now, one of the most recent factors that researcher Brennan suggested in 2017 is that the availability of live sporting events on digital streaming services is to blame for this decline in live sporting event attendance. His research suggested that the average NFL ticket being $93 in 2016, an MLB ticket being $50, an NBA ticket being $56, and an NHL ticket being right around $62, that it is much more beneficial for the average family of four to watch games on these streaming services rather than spending the $200 to $250 for seats with an average view. Some of the more interesting factors suggested by researchers for the decline in live sporting event attendance was the atmosphere of live sporting events and the fan involvement during these events. Research by John Hall at Deakin University stated that organizations were failing to capitalize on the social entertainment side of the games to provide more of an escape for family and friends rather than just the athletes being the focus of the attention. This similar train of thought was used by researcher Guerra in 2014, who studied 32 different collegiate conferences and found that Wi-Fi connectivity and cellular connectivity was the most significant factor of why students were refraining from events because it was so poor during these actual events. These findings suggested that fans were looking for other forms of involvement at these events rather than just the game itself. These same principles were enforced by researcher Rube Basilica, who studied the fanship of the New Zealand rugby team. His study stated while factors such as the cleanliness of the stadium were significant in keeping fans coming back every single game, the most significant factor was the positive emotions and involvement of fans during the ritual war dance that they perform before every single one of their games. This showed some of the highest engagement of fans and has kept attendance steady season after season. While much of the research previously stated holds some sort of significance, I feel that researchers are failing to look at a few factors within the same study, putting them up against one another to determine any correlations amongst them. Especially in our day and age, there are a few factors that are worth paying closer attention to than the ones that have been looked into before. With that being said, I have come up with 3 hypotheses that I feel are most responsible for the decline in live sporting events. These are individuals are beginning to skip out on live sporting events as ticket prices are at an all-time high. The digital availability of these sporting events from anywhere that has a Wi-Fi connection is drawing fans away from these live sporting events and getting them back into the comfort of their own homes. And finally, new generations are finding new ways to entertain themselves using the internet and social media, that live sporting events just aren't that appealing like they were to previous generations. With all the research being done on this current issue, it is no secret that there is a drastic decline in the live sporting event attendance rates over the last decade. In order to learn more about this issue and try to shed some light on why this is happening, a research survey will be given to participants with questions regarding ticket pricing, digital availability, and other forms of entertainment that do not pertain to sports. In doing this, we can hopefully find some significant factors that are to blame for the decline. For this research, the sample size will be quite general due to the fact that the average person has likely been to at least one live sporting event in their lifetime. In order to downsize the population, participants will be asked questions specifically regarding professional and collegiate sporting events. Random sampling will also be used in order to have the best variability amongst participants. The sample will be quantitative so that the generalizations can be made for the rest of the population. In order to distribute the survey to as many participants as possible, Qualtrics will be used to create the survey. The survey will be easily accessible by clicking on a link that will be distributed through various social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. Now, most of the social media users on certain platforms will by default be younger on average, so to combat that, I will also be distributing the survey by a QR code or a link on a smartphone I can provide to participants in person. Data collected will be kept and analyzed on Qualtrics as well. In the survey, participants will start off by giving their consent to take the survey, acknowledging that they are 18 years of age or older. They will then be asked demographic questions such as their age and gender to see if they play a role during the study. The survey will be designed in a way where participants who answer the first question as no, they do not watch live sports, they will be redirected to a question asking what it is that they find themselves doing during their free time, such as TV shows, books, social media, Netflix, etc., in order to see where organizations may be losing some viewership. If the participant answers yes, they will continue with the survey. Those who continue on will be asked questions on how they feel about ticket prices of live sporting events, their preference in the way that they consume live sporting events, all on a Likert scale, how many hours a week they find themselves watching sporting events, and what they do when they are not consuming live sporting events, as in forms of entertainment that they consume. On these next two slides, you'll be able to see some of my sample survey questions that I'll be using in the survey that participants will be taking. As you can see, they are on a Likert scale that will vary from strongly disagree to strongly agree, mostly used on questions such as I find ticket prices for live sporting events to be affordable. And they will also answer questions such as how many hours a week do you find yourself watching live sporting events digitally, to see if any digital streaming services play a factor in viewership. On this slide, you can see the question where participants who answer no, they do not watch live sports will be able to pick different options of forms of entertainment that they find themselves consuming or using often rather than watching live sports. This can give a better idea to organizations of where they're losing viewership or possible attendees to their events, and where they can focus marketing and attempt to bring these individuals into their live events. This same question will be answered by those who said that they do watch live sporting events, to show what these individuals are doing during the times that they aren't consuming any forms of live sporting events. Once a significant amount is collected, any flawed survey will be discarded to keep proper significant results. Simple correlation testing will be done to test whether age and gender show any correlation between those who watch live sporting events, those who do not watch live sporting events, and the amounts of games attended in a year. This will help determine whether my third hypothesis of the new generations looking to other forms of activities besides live sporting events for entertainment. ANOVA testing will be done on age and gender and the various forms of entertainment that those who do not watch live sporting events choose, as well as those who do watch live sporting events choose. This will also contribute to my third hypothesis. ANOVA testing will also be performed on the factors that participants answer that would encourage them to attend more live sporting events, as well as their preferred method of live sporting event consumption, testing my first hypothesis of ticket prices being too high and my second hypothesis of streaming services keeping fans in the comfort of their own homes. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to my research proposal. I hope you guys really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to listen to yours. Thanks.